absolutely. Making it clear.
We also will need you to do that if that's cool. That's for bonus content.
Yeah.
We'll see how it goes.
Yeah. People have been asking us for the Matt Christman twerking video. That's been a tier on our Patreon for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been working on it. We've tried some deep fakes, but none of it's quite worked out.
Yeah, like I ran it through like the DALL-E thing, and it just kept putting your head on back to front, and I don't know. I started to think it was maybe a little bit weird. Yeah, too many fingers, head on back to front. Just not the vibe.
Yeah, you need that sense of authenticity that you can only get from a real twerk.
Yeah, exactly. So that is why we are going to need to see that off you in the next hour or so. Just at some point, whenever, just
those Matt twerking videos on my desk.
We'll let you warm
J.
up.
Jonah Jameson thumping the table.
We'll let you warm up, get comfortable, but we are gonna need to see that.
We love to see it. And for the listener, hello and welcome to Masters of Our Domain, the podcast which is allegedly about the hit 90s sitcom Seinfeld. I'm Milo Edwards, someone who's never seen Seinfeld, and I'm joined as ever by my co-host Phoebe Roy.
Hello.
That is all she ever says. And this week, as the basic object permanence having members of the audience may have already observed, we are joined by a very special guest all the way from the United States. It's Matt Christman. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Yeah, good.
Yeah, not too bad.
Yeah.
It's been a
week.
Whenever we podcast with California, we have this kind of thing where like you're weary because it's early and we're weary because it's late, and it's these two different, these yin and yang wearinesses that we're bringing to the show.
Yeah.
In my experience, that's some of your finest podcasting is when everybody just sort of
exhausted.
praying for death.
Yeah. I wish I'd had time to pray for death today. I've
had time to pray for death.
Oh, okay.
So I've done that. I've done that for both of us. Yeah, well, I scheduled it in early.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the trick.
If you just make 10 minutes a day every morning, it really makes a difference.
Yeah.
But you've got to make a routine of it.
Got to do it before you even pick up your phone.
Praying for death really should be the absolute first thing you do.
Absolute first thing you do.
In the morning.
Wake up, do your sun salutes, pray for death.
Yeah, that's right. Otherwise they'll think you're not taking it seriously.
Mm-hmm.
And the Seinfeld episode we've watched this week is season 7. I forget what episode it was.
Episode 3.
Season 7, episode 3. I've just typed in season 7 to Google.
We can tell you quite a lot about RuPaul's Drag Race. I'm quite interested in what the autocomplete is for just season 7.
Correct. It is season 7, episode 3, The Maestro. A very off-piste episode of Seinfeld, I thought.
I disagree. I think this is a cracker.
That wasn't really a value judgment. It was just unusual in many ways.
It's unusual, at least in one respect. Very few Seinfeld episodes reference stuff from previous episodes. This one almost feels like the second half of a two-parter.
It is, yeah. True.
Yeah.
True. It's also another one where Jerry takes a back seat. We do not have a monster of the week for Jerry.
No. Yeah. Jerry is not. He's not had to slay anyone.
We find out about Costanza's first forays into the labor movement.
Yeah,
which is a new thing, and we never see that again because it doesn't work out.
Yeah,
very
I was
well.
enjoying Costanza's Union Man arc here.
Yep.
This is good.
Costanza is a Union Man.
Yeah, that's what we've learned.
He does not scab. It's also one of the rare episodes which is not based on a real life event, as in something that happens to one of the writers, but like based on a real life
discourse event
story. Yeah. Which we talked a little bit about this last week, and I'm interested in your two's view on this, because I actually don't know whether it is the case that people know that the kind of the general cultural understanding of the McDonald's hot coffee lawsuit is bullshit or not. I don't know whether people know that, or if it's like one of those like kind of tiresome like fact people who are just like, yeah, but like, did you know that like that lawsuit was like the reason that it was a lawsuit was because she had 3rd-degree burns, and like it was completely reasonable, and everyone pretended that it wasn't reasonable and was insane. But I don't know which it is. I don't know if it's like...
I think most people don't think about it at all.
I'm thinking about it now. I'd ask you to both think about it now.
I would say anybody who knows about it and thinks about it now knows that actually it was a legitimate lawsuit and the coffee was way too hot and it scalded her and all that. Anybody who would the received idea was something that people who just casually consumed news in the 90s knew about. At this point, those same people have forgotten about it or died, and or if they're younger than that, never heard about the story in the first place. You only know it to have that actually with it.
Yeah.
So that's interesting.
Where I heard about this story the most was when I lived in Russia, because the Russians thought this was like a hilarious example of how, you know, in America, if bad things happened to you, you could get compensation, whereas in Russia, obviously, this would... Like, the Russians found the
Russians
idea...
just say, well, of course, this is life.
...of any kind of restitution absolutely hilarious, because the Russians are like, yes, if a garbage truck runs you over, you're just dead now. There is no... Your family gets nothing. You should not have stood in the way of garbage truck. That's their position on it. And so the hot coffee lawsuit, it really cut through in Russia.
Interesting.
You know, the decadent West.
So if you want to hear about it now, you either have to like find like a QI fan or go to Russia. Those are your two options.
Yeah, basically.
Or
I was surprised. But
like be a you're wrong about person.
Oh God, yeah. You don't want to be correcting people. But yeah, so this episode is hot coffee centric or coffee centric in general, you could say. And we open with a bit, as we so often do. The bits are back. Elton John voice, the bit is back.
Don't open with a bit.
We do open with a bit. Jerry goes in on the concept of coffee. Did you not see this?
No. It's
Yeah.
What? No.
Yeah, he's like, it's the only drink you have to keep saying no to.
Oh wait, yeah, no,
It's
I
like
do
you
remember
half
this.
expect
Sorry,
people to pop
I
out
do
of a
remember
manhole
this.
cover and offer you a coffee.
It's because I watched it last night after working all day, so I have no idea what I was looking at.
I'm not getting offered coffee that much. I don't know. Matt, do you think you have to fend off coffees on every street corner? Is this an American thing?
There's a lot of coffee over here. We love it. Got to be productive. I do not drink coffee. I never acquired the
coffee
taste for it. I never did the grown up thing of forcing myself to like it. So I did that with alcohol, but I could never pull it off with coffee. So all these coffee based storylines, they kind of leave me a little cold in that respect.
Oh, yeah, unlike the coffee which was spilled, which was
very hot.
What are you drinking?
Very hot.
What are you drinking in the morning? Is that more alcohol, or you just?
I mean, I would just be tired. Like I mean, now I don't have to get up. Like now, my solution is not having a real job. I don't have to get up, so I don't have to jolt myself. But when I did have to get up in the morning to do a job, I would just be tired.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah, well,
raw
that's
dogging life.
That's the stoical approach. That's the Russian approach. Just be tired.
Just be tired.
Who do you think you are being awake and feeling good about the world in the morning?
I did sort of take it as read that if I wake up at 6 a.m. to go to Barnes & Noble to work there, I'm not going to be chipper. I'm not going to be bright. What am I going to do? Jam adrenaline into my heart to go do this job?
The plot
I just
Crank
figure
is
that
very,
like
very
the
boring.
act of going through life would eventually wake me up, and it usually does.
Yeah, eventually at a certain point.
Sooner or later.
Yeah, it's getting through that initial stage, the horror of like being born onto this world again.
The horror of being born onto this world.
You know, you're asleep, you're vibing, you're having a great time, and then suddenly there's like a loud noise, and you're like,
resting in the great womb of night.
Everything hurts. Yeah,
Hurts.
Comedian Pierre Novelli had an amazing bit about this. He's like, I don't understand morning people, like people who just wake up at 6 a.m. and they feel ready to start their day. So I wake up every morning in agony. My eyes are like Ferrero Rocher in their sockets. I'm like, yeah, this is my life.
Why does everything hurt?
Oh, it's just
everything
unpleasant.
Shouldn't hurt. You're not even 30.
Yeah. The worst
Matt,
thing
do you
is the
hurt
eyes.
in the morning? Is this something that just happens?
I mean, I'm always in pain, so it's just sort of a reacquaintance with the bodily miseries
with
that
the pain.
are
I see,
my constant companion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, you're in the night womb, no pain, and then you wake up, and then
waking into pain. Yeah.
Hello, pain, my old friend.
Yeah, that's right.
The trauma of being born.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I've come to ache with you again. Yeah.
Well, you know, I'm a morning person. I'm a morning psycho. So this has absolutely no this has no meaning for me.
Wait a minute. Do you drink coffee in the morning?
I do, yeah, but I don't have to. I just like it.
You're not a morning person, then that's just cheating.
No, I just like
Anybody
it.
can be a morning person if they're injecting themselves with fucking caffeine.
Yeah.
I'm not injecting
Phoebe
it. I am
is a psycho
snorting
though. She wakes
it.
up at like 5 a.m. It's like extreme morning person.
No, yeah, I wake up at like 5:15ish, and then I get up at 5:45.
Yeah, that's brutal. No matter how much coffee you give me, that would ruin my day.
I don't have coffee until like 7.
Yeah.
For the first like hour or so, I'm like a monk.
You'd have to give me IV coffee to get me out of bed at that time of the morning. Or like cocaine or something. I don't know.
Well, I have cocaine.
Oh, right. Okay, yeah.
Got a little dish on the bedside
coffee.
table. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the kind of coffee that God wants you to drink.
Please, I'm trying to kick caffeine. I'm going Coke only.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll get you. I did live with a guy briefly in Russia who used to use cocaine to get himself out of bed in the morning because he used to work till like 2 a.m. and then have to get up again at like 7.
Do you have any stories about Russia that aren't bleak?
It's a bleak place.
Okay.
It's a very bleak place.
Fair enough.
And then he just used to do a big line of Coke and then drive to work.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's grind set. I respect it.
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
One big line?
Yeah. You can't go overboard at 7 a.m. Even he understood that. It was like a moderate.
Did he alternate nostrils or did he have like one massive nostril like a bassist?
Like worn away.
Yeah.
I presume he alternated, but I didn't really look into the details.
I'd have looked into the details. But you know, that's just me, a morning person.
Yeah, that was That's
just me. It's just what I do.
Yeah, you're detail oriented. But so
I have
Jerry,
deep curiosity about the lives of others.
Jerry's yelling about being offered coffee all the time and having to turn it down. I feel like this strikes me as more the British experience of tea. Because I've been to America and you can buy coffee easily there, and you may be offered it directly on occasion, but it doesn't seem all imposing.
Okay,
but
cool.
in Britain, if you don't drink tea in Britain, that's a millstone around your neck. Like people question you about it. They're like trying to make you have a cup of tea anyway. They're taking offense.
Yeah, that is true.
I did a full tea service one time in England in New York.
Mm-hmm.
All right, going to the original.
Yeah, with the big stacked,
the small apple.
The big stacked dishes and the triangular
with the
shape
sandwiches and the cakes. Yeah,
and I gotta say, after it, my hands were like shaking from the caffeine and sugar. I felt like I was geeked up.
Oh hell yeah!
Yeah, but
I enjoyed that.
It's like tea is a smooth landing on the caffeine front. You're fine if you have a little cup of tea. Just a bit of.
You might have had like 9 cups.
That's true.
It's
You
a
might.
full tea
That's
service.
true. That's true.
Yeah, you can get pretty hopped up on tea if you drink enough of it. But I'm not a tea drinker, so
I wouldn't know.
Yeah, I've heard tell.
Do people try to talk you into liking tea?
Yeah, all the time.
That's weird.
My family are Cockneys. They take such umbrage to the fact that I don't drink tea. I mean, not my immediate family because they're used to it, but any kind of so my grandmother has
Why
like
don't you
mild
claim that it's an
dementia
anti-imperialist stance?
Yeah, that'd go over well. Yeah, my grandmother has mild dementia, so she offers me a cup of tea like 9 times. Except this doesn't make sense because I've never drunk tea, and she hasn't forgotten the past. She just forgets stuff that's happened recently. And she's going like, "Since when do you not drink tea?" And I'm like, "Since forever. I've literally never accepted a cup of tea off of you in 30 years." And she's like, "News to me." I'm like, "Is it? Is it news to you?"
I think sometimes your grandma's just fucking with you. I genuinely do.
Maybe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes she'll get mad at me making her a cup of tea. That's another classic.
Why?
Because she'll forget that I asked her if she wanted one. And then she'll be like, "He's making me a cup of tea. He's not even asked if I want one." And I'm like, "Well, I have. You just..." But also that's a weird thing to get annoyed about. Anyway, so I've got on a tangent here about my grandmother's peccadillos.
What I think that he's getting at is he's talking about like being like a diner or a cafe where they do coffee refills.
They're trying to refill, yeah.
I think that's what he's talking about. Isn't that... Matt, can you be our American correspondent on this one? Is this just a thing on TV, or is this something that actually happens if you're sitting in a cafe?
Which thing?
If you're sitting in a cafe,
refills.
are they always trying to like refill your coffee from like a big pot that they keep on the burner?
If you go to a diner, yeah, I mean, they'll come along and try to refill you, I think. A good one. A conscientious diner.
You
ever seen Reservoir Dogs?
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, this is what I'm
we've been here
for
a long fucking time. She's only filled my cup 2 times.
Yeah. I think that's what I'm getting
I want it to be
this
filled
information.
6 times. 6 times. What if she's too fucking busy? So yeah, it's there's an expectation that they're going to keep the cup filled. but only really at diners.
Only at diners. Okay.
It's a very like Twitter screen name thing, like De Conscientious Diner. I could see that. I could see that being a type of guy. Yeah, no, because actually I remember like one of my sister's friends in the States came on a business trip to the UK and was out in lunch somewhere in London and had like 9 Cokes during the course of lunch because he assumed they were just free, like refills, and then was presented with a bill for 9 Cokes and was like, oh my God. And then, but then my question to him was, how did you drink 9 Cokes?
Yeah, I think that's burying the lead.
Yeah.
You don't mean 9 lines.
No, sadly. That would have been, I would have respected that.
You would be surprised if you were billed for that in a cafe.
You would, yeah. I mean, it would be a great cafe. I'd go again. Just having the option is nice. But yeah, so we get into the meat of the episode. And George has gone shopping with Susan for clothes, and he becomes obsessed with a security guard who doesn't have a chair to sit on.
But it's also Susan's uncle's store.
Ah, okay, I missed that part.
So this is like, so this is sort of part of her kind of wasp dynasty. They can't really decide why Susan is a mega rich wasp.
In the pocket of Big Shop.
She's in the pocket of Big Shop, yeah. But anyway, it's this place called Ross's. So the clue's right there. It's right there in the name. They could have been a bit more inventive, if you ask me.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, the family money comes from friends.
But they have a whole conversation about it, and he says, "No, aren't you concerned about the security guard?" And she says, "No, not really." And he's like, "What kind of person is this? Who am I marrying?" Because Costanza, in the interim, has had his consciousness raised and is now a union man.
Yeah. He can't draw anyone else in on this. No one else is willing to be inveigled by Costanza into his defense of the working man.
Well, it happened when he got sent to Cuba.
Oh, yes,
to negotiate the deals with Castro.
He's a fucking no pasaran guy now.
Yeah.
He cares about the chair.
He does. He does care about the chair.
This is kind of George's plot arc.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Kramer is trying to get compensated for spilling hot coffee on himself in the previous episode.
As discussed up top.
Yeah. And he has a fun lawyer.
He does.
Fast-talking lawyer.
Yep.
Fast-talking, fast-thinking. And he's going to make Kramer rich.
The lawyer has, I think, some of the best lines in this whole episode. There's a bit when Kramer puts a balm on his burn, and his lawyer says, "Do you know what a balm is? Have you ever seen a balm?" Which I think is just a beautiful bit of writing, and I wish I'd written it. That's my take.
It's hard to know the clear difference between a balm and a cream and any other kind of ointment.
Matt, do you want to weigh in on this?
Yeah, I could never tell it's like jam and jelly. It's all very vague to me. You guys, have you guys talked about what Jackie Childs is based on?
No.
Before?
No, because
you guys don't know this, being British and children?
Because of being British and children.
You probably don't know that.
Yeah, unfortunately.
So Jackie Childs, his lawyer, is based on Johnny Cochran, who is one of the lead attorneys for OJ Simpson in his murder trial.
Oh, that's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like his whole mannerisms and everything, it's all based on this guy, Johnny Cochran, who helped get OJ off. He famously said after they had him try on the glove from the murder scene and it didn't fit on his hand, he said, "If the glove doesn't fit, you must acquit." And then they reference that directly in a Seinfeld episode with Sue Ellen Mishke, the candy bar heiress, and her bra.
And is that so is this why the audience like die laughing every time he opens his mouth, because they like recognize this reference?
Yeah, they know what the joke is there. The British children do not understand.
And this is Kim Kardashian's dad, right?
No, that's Robert Kardashian. He was
I know it was
involved in the...
I know it was a silly joke because I assume that her father is not called Johnny Cochran, because that would be quite surprising.
Well, I don't know what you people know over there. Apparently, you don't know Jackie Childs is Johnny Cochran. I don't know what else you're
that's true. You don't know
of.
what kind of gaps in the knowledge we've got over
here. I don't know what
here.
you're dealing with.
Yeah,
that would be
true.
funny if the Kardashians were stealing Armenian valor. They were like deep cover.
That would be funny. That's why I said it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. There's a lot of layers here. Yeah. Yeah. Don't get the Kardashians started on Nagorno-Karabakh. They're covering up for something.
Being accused of doing Armenian face.
Yeah. There you go. That would be interesting.
By Cher.
None of the Kardashians have their original face, so it would really...
That's true.
Many elements of, My girlfriend was taking great pleasure in showing me...
Taking me great pleasure
in showing me the pre-surgery pictures of all the various Kardashians the other night. And I was like, this is like real Like, they don't even look similar. I was shocked. This is kind of like female arcana here. You know, as a man, you're just taking this stuff at face value. You're seeing the finished product.
Female arcana. Do you think that cosmetic surgery is like a dark art?
No. I mean, rather knowing like who's had it and what they look like before, I think is a kind of female arcana. I don't think many men keep up to date with, you know, who's had what surgery and what they used to look like.
Well, if you know who they...
You can obviously tell when someone's had a bad job done.
If you know who they are, then they have had something done to themselves. That's...
The act of becoming famous is a transformative one.
No. It's just that every famous person like fucks around with their face a little bit.
Acaster.
Yeah. Well, Acaster's had the buccal fat removal.
Yeah. Trump obviously had the BBL.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You can see there's no way that's a natural ass. He's got too much cake back there.
Yeah.
Right. Well, yeah.
Too much on the parcel shelf.
So yeah, we've got Johnny Cochran the lawyer.
Yeah, Johnny Cochran the lawyer.
Cochran the lawyer got OJ off, and now he's focused on Kramer's
on getting
coffee lawsuit.
Some money for Kramer.
Now
Thank you very much for this intelligence,
man.
Matt. That's actually quite useful, because I just always thought that he's just a comical side character, but apparently not.
We sat our British ass down
and we listened. Yeah,
we did. So yes, we've got that plot line. The lawyer's negotiating hard for Kramer to get a big money settlement. But
so I realised I was planning on challenging about something. There's a very obvious difference between a balm and an ointment.
Is there?
Yeah, because a balm is a kind of semi-set, mostly kind of translucent in the main.
Right.
But it's like semi-set and then it like melts upon like heating, whereas an ointment is an extruded cream.
An extruded cream, you say? Okay, well that explains it.
Has to be extruded, otherwise it's not an ointment.
They extrude that shit.
If it's in a tub, then it's cream. If you're squeezing it through a tube, it's an ointment.
Don't talk to me unless you've been extruded.
That's right.
Well, hang on. So you can't have a cream in a tube? Is that what you're saying?
You can have a cream in a tube.
Right.
But if it's a bit lighter and looser in texture, then it's an ointment.
Lighter and looser in texture.
That's right.
Interesting. I think all of these things are slightly more like family resemblance concepts than you're giving them credit for. I think there's probably a lot more crossover than...
Yeah, well, that's what you think. You don't even know what a balm is. Never seen a balm.
It's like a bread roll that you have fried potato and pea wet in.
I beg your pardon.
Do you not remember the smack balm pea wet?
Oh god, yeah, no, I do. I kind of erased that from my from my mental museum.
You're not welcome in Wigan. Never had a pie in a bat.
Well, it's true. I'm not welcome in Wigan, but that's not why.
No, after the incident. Yeah. And to be fair, if you've got to be not welcome somewhere, Wigan probably not a bad shout.
Yeah, it could be worse, couldn't it?
It could be a lot worse. Well, not Wigan. Wigan would struggle to be much worse. But
did you visit Wigan when you were in York? Is Wigan near York?
It's not a million miles. Okay, Wigan's in Lancashire and York's in Yorkshire. So.
Well, I know that York's in Yorkshire. I managed to get that much.
Well, yeah. No, Wigan is northwest and York is northeast. But Wigan is like near it. It's like between Manchester and Liverpool. It's like around there.
I feel like if I say any
more,
I will anger northerners. A couple of hours
in the car, an hour in the car. I don't
know.
Well,
that's not very far, is it?
No. Yeah.
And Yorkshire's big. Yorkshire's a big boy.
It is.
What were you doing in York? Just visiting, seeing the Minster?
I was there for an engagement, a function. It was nice. I like it.
Were you meeting a king or something? It sounds very...
It's got the walls. I always appreciate a walled city.
A walled city is good.
You get, like, where's the city? It's like it's inside that wall. Very clean.
Yeah. You get asked about your business when you go through the portcullis.
Mm-hmm. Well fortified.
Yeah, exactly. Who doesn't love a portcullis? A barbican?
Yeah, I'm all about that. A keep.
I would love a keep.
Yep.
I'd like to have one added on get one
to your terraced house.
All the places where some dude's head got put after they were executed.
Oh, that is because that is a question, isn't it? What do you do with the heads afterwards? You've got to have a sort of storage system. Medieval Marie Kondo is there.
What does this one spark joy? No, get rid of it.
It would be unfortunate if you didn't have enough spikes for all of your heads. That would be.
Well, that's why you have to start making some tough decisions about whose head is looking good, whose head is not looking so good.
Yeah, I presume there's definitely a temporal element to it. It's a sort of rotation of you've got to have fresh heads.
Well, there is actually an organisation. They're very good. They actually compost your old heads. So they come round once a week. You just pay a small subscription, and they just take the heads off the pikes and you're helping the environment. So
I've heard though that you pay for that, but then actually they then subcontract it out, and what ends up happening is all your heads get set light to on a beach in Turkey somewhere.
Oh, that is a shame.
It all ends up in the sea.
All in landfill. All in landfill.
Landfill heads. Only real landfill heads.
That is genuinely, I think, one of the most horrifying images that I am able to have. I've got a bit of a thing about that as well.
It was the plastic of its day. The head. So
scaring the turtles. Etc.
That's right. Meanwhile, Elaine's plotline is that she is dating an orchestra conductor who likes to be called the Maestro, inventor of the Visa card, the Maestro.
Yeah.
And his real name is Bob. He comes into the story because he turns up to give Kramer this ointment, balm, cream, etc.
Infuriating Kramer's lawyer.
Yeah, and Elaine bumps into him. Now, how does Kramer know the Maestro? That was the bit I missed out on.
It's not supposed to be relevant.
Oh.
You don't need to know. Kramer knows everybody. He's a man about town.
He is a man about town. Kramer has a very, very established and broad social network.
He's a man of diverse interests.
You got Bob Sacamano.
Exactly, who you never meet, which is a real shame.
You never meet him.
Shame. So it's up to you to decide what he looks like.
Okay, interesting.
You guys should pitch this episode as the Tar tie-in. People love talking about Tar.
I haven't seen it.
The discourse movie.
Have you seen Tar?
So I genuinely don't know what that means, but I'm assuming that it's funny.
It's a movie about a conductor. She's played by Kate Blanchett. Everyone calls her Maestro.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's the talk of awards season.
No. So I hear. I was wondering about going to see it, but it is also 3 hours long, and you know my rule.
Yeah, that is a long movie.
I'm not sitting down for 3 hours.
I spoke to an...
It's absurd. It's supernaturally long.
That's
it's
just,
up there with the Oliver Stone Alexander.
That's just nothing is as long as that.
Nothing feels as long as that film feels.
I have never seen a film which has managed to so closely replicate the experience of being in a K-hole. It's one of the worst evenings of my entire life.
It's like the vomit comet, but for a K-hole. Yeah, it can simulate the precise sensation.
I am a raindrop on a window. I've been there for 1,000 years.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's amazing too because the 3-hour cut of JFK, also by Oliver Stone, goes by instantly.
Yeah, I love that movie.
That's one of the fastest 3 hours in film, up there with Wolf of Wall Street.
So it's the kind of the two genders of Oliver Stone. It's his yin, it's his yang. Together, that's what we should have done. We should have watched JFK and then Alexander, and then we would have watched it in its correct completeness. That would have been engendered kind of universal balance.
Now, the Macedonian government would have you believe that Alexander was struck by some kind of magic arrow passing through the neck of the horse here before lodging in his hip.
Well, as we said in the Alexander episode, I think that the insane reception that Oliver Stone received to JFK is sent him round the bend. It's the only explanation for the 3.5 hour monstrosity that is 2004's Alexander.
You go so mad you have to cast Colin Farrell as Alexander the Great against all your better instinct.
That should be a diagnostic criterion, surely.
It's in that manual, whatever it's called.
The big book, the big DSM book.
Yeah.
It's called the big DSM book. It says it on the cover.
Yeah, the big book of mental.
My big book of DSM.
That's right. Yeah. So yes, she's dating the Maestro. She's on the fence about calling him the Maestro, but insists on it, and then she gets into it. It's kink.
You know what? No, first of all, it is. It's conductor play. I don't want to be involved in conductor play without my consent, personally.
When you make him go and put on the little tailcoat.
They don't have to wear a tailcoat. Not all conductors do.
No, but I think a lot of orchestral events are white tie.
Why the hell wouldn't you not? That's why you would become a conductor, is and wear the little outfit like Bugs Bunny in the classic short. There's no other reason to stand there with the fucking stick in your hand.
You can have him in the bunny ears as well.
Well, we'll come back to that. I think there's another good reason to become a conductor, and this is because I have a real hankering for telling violinists what to do. And every time I see a violinist, I'm just like, I want to give you some orders, and I feel like they won't take orders from me unless I have the stick.
just following orders, the violinist's defense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I find
that's correct.
I know there's a reason why they have conductors, but I do find the concept of the conductor a bit suspicious because I feel like they're all musicians. They're all reading the sheet music.
No. This is the thing. I thought this as well until I started watching the reality TV show where they got celebrities to pretend to be conductors.
Right. One of them had to get on a bus.
That was that's
Anthony
right.
Costa from Blue on the back of the Routemaster.
Yeah. One of them was on the Baltimore to Ohio.
Dangerous route. You wouldn't be doing that.
Definitely is if you're a violinist.
I'm not going to spoil it for you guys, but there is a return appearance by the Maestro in an episode around here, and it goes into exactly what the conductor does with the punchline.
Yeah,
so,
no, that is true. Right. I've seen it all. Milo hasn't.
It's a very like auntie coded, I think, job. The conductor, the sort of like the silent gesturing, being like, "You over there."
Well, if you see an orchestra that is not being well conducted, it's astonishing how like weird and draggy it sounds. It sounds like a kind of Walkman that's like running out of batteries.
Interesting. Stirring up at the timpani guy at the back. You fucking watch it.
I fucking see you with your big drums.
Yeah.
Tosser.
You hit that at the wrong time again. Yeah, they're actually doing sign language the whole time.
You're fucking a wanker.
Conductor is just giving everyone the finger is a funny bit.
Look at you with your fucking clarinet. What is that? Yeah. That's a fucking recorder for show-offs.
Well, because he believes he'll get the best out of them by riling them up. Yeah. No one. A calm man has never played good oboe. You've got to be ready to kill.
This is more of your anti-oboe sentiment.
I don't have anti-oboe sentiment.
This is not the first time that you've started going on about people who play the oboe.
What? Have you had a stroke?
The oboes, that's a double reed. Those are hard to play.
I'm immediately being shown up on my oboe knowledge here. I see Matt is an oboe expert. I've never spoken about the oboe
why we asked him on.
I don't know what you're talking about.
We had a whole conversation about it.
What?
Did I dream having a conversation with you about the oboe? And you were being really weirdly aggro about the oboe?
I mean,
this is a possibility.
Now that you're saying this out loud, I feel like that is a likely explanation.
Now I'm thinking about it. It might have been a dream.
Well, anyway, so Elaine is dating the conductor.
Yeah. And he wants her to call him the Maestro.
Yeah.
I fully support this.
Some men want to be called daddy, other men want to be called the Maestro.
If I had a job that people could stand to say out loud without embarrassing themselves.
Podcastrix.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I would absolutely insist on being called by my title. If I was a doctor, I'd make people call me doctor.
Right.
For sure.
What an informal scenario.
Absolutely.
Constantly.
The more informal, the better.
Yeah.
I want everyone to call me doctor. In fact, if I thought I could get away with it, I'd get people to call me doctor now.
All right, doctor.
Yeah.
Not ever using the surname, but just doctor.
Yeah, that's right.
The doctor.
The doctor. No, not the doctor. That's a nerd thing.
Yeah, no, you wouldn't want that.
No.
Okay, right. Well, we've
learned
a lot.
What about you, Matt? Would you like people to call you podcaster?
Good Lord,
try to get away from that.
That sounds like an insult.
Podcaster derogatory.
Yeah, it's not a name I feel comfortable with either.
No. It's a bit like, can you keep your voice down? Don't call me that. That's our word.
Yeah, it's actually a slur that we're reclaiming.
Podcaster with a hard R. How dare you?
Podcaster with a bunch of asterisks in it.
Yeah, I think the funniest job to insist on being called by the title is like probably pilot. I think if a pilot insisted on being called pilot, that'd be funny.
Oh yeah, that is quite funny. Don't they get called captain? Don't they?
Yeah, that's why it would be funny to insist that they could be called pilot.
I did recently learn that the lowest pilot rank in the RAF, i.e. officer rank, is flying officer. So your title is flying officer, whatever, which I just found very, because it's so literal. So yeah, he flies plane. Yeah. That's him. At the most basic level, like, you've got one experience point, and that's you. You're flying officer.
Do you think anyone ever tries to get called the rank of whoever they're playing on like Call of Duty or something?
Oh, that could be fun.
If they've logged enough hours
as a real yeah.
Well,
if you do enough, if you get enough points on Call of Duty, you get to be in the army. Like you kind of you advance out of Call of Duty.
But it's like a kind of red letter day of being in the army.
Oh, well, like a virgin experience.
Yeah, like a virgin experience.
It really would be a virgin experience in the case of some of those people. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Exactly.
Yeah. No, I can see that.
The sort of thing that your sister might get you for your birthday.
Now, hang on a minute. Which sister? Sort of thing one of my sisters might get me for my birthday. So
if you had to be called a title, Matt, what would you like it to be?
What would you go with?
I mean, Doctor is very classy. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Captain, though, is very fun, insouciant.
Yeah.
Feel like swashbuckling.
Yeah, Doctor's hard to disprove, but it can be disproved. Captain, basically impossible. If you say you're a captain, you've got no choice but
captain
to agree.
Of industry.
Yeah, fine. The captain of podcast.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm the captain of this podcasting ship.
In Kentucky, here in the United States, it's very easy to become a colonel, like Colonel Sanders, for example.
Colonel Sanders, lately discussed off this show.
Yeah. There's so much lore about Colonel Sanders.
I know. We've talked
like the
about
cursed Japanese baseball team.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good one. They destroyed a statue of Colonel Sanders and they supposedly didn't win a game for like 8 years or something.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why they thought
he was involved in a shootout that killed a man.
Who was Colonel Sanders?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he ran a gas station before he invented his technique.
Before he invented the chicken.
Does not really have anything to do with the spices. It's just the cooking technique. He did pressure cooking, which allowed for large volume frying of chicken, which otherwise was difficult to do and made that kind of fast service fried chicken hard to accomplish. He had a gas station, and he was in a price war with another gas station, and him and like one of his associates went over to confront them for like fucking with their sign or something, and they got in a shootout, and a guy got killed, and he was acquitted because it was self-defense.
Huh.
Wow.
Oh, that's something to add to our Colonel Sanders document.
You really do love the United States, I think. You have to, because the element of like getting in it, like rival gas stations, getting into a shootout over prices is like, that is, you see in the UK, like that sort of thing would happen, but it would be much more pathetic. There would be like a CCTV video of someone kicking over someone's sign, and then someone coming out of the store and like hitting him over the head with like one of those like ice scrapers for a car windscreen or something. And then there'd be some yelling.
You couldn't do much damage with one of those. They're just made of plastic.
Then the police would turn up with their thumbs in their stab vest and say, like, there's been an altercation between two gentlemen. Myself and PC Shufflesworth attending the scene. Like, wouldn't be. There's honour in dying in a gas station shootout, I think.
Well, not a lot of people know this, but Bernie Sanders' name is not Bernie Sanders. He was sponsored by KFC. So he was obliged to change his name. And now it's sort of stuck.
Yeah, that is the danger of having a marketing gimmick. You can be stuck with it at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And Bernie Sanders paid the price.
Yeah. And they won't even tell him what the spices are. He's asked.
He's one gets to know.
He's put in an FOI request.
Yeah. Do you reckon they've lost the original document and now they're just having to cover for it? Well, there never were any spices. Just kind of the contention. It was all about the pressure cooking, really.
Scribbled on the back of a fag packet somewhere.
I think they did. They examined the KFC fried chicken once, and it's just salt, pepper, and MSG.
Ah.
Well, that's disappointing.
Taking on secret techniques from China. Colonel Sanders claims to be American. No record of him before 1970.
What you're Colonel Sanders'
He was learning
now?
chicken cooking in China. He came over here to give us all his Chinese chicken. It's a grand conspiracy. I don't know.
No. I like this. That's why I'm looking at you like this, because I'm encouraging you to continue.
That's why you're silently looking on as I do this Trump chicken bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Colonel Sanders' birther is like a fun. If you're going to be a birther for someone, I think that's a fun.
Yeah.
one. Yeah.
I think it's fun to be a birther for like members of the royal family.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, that's not even really a conspiracy. It's just like, oh, yep, German.
Not all of them.
Yeah. The fact that Princess Michael of Kent's dad was an SS officer and she was born in the Sudetenland, that's a pretty good one.
Well, she's another example of a branding partnership that went wrong. She was sponsored by St. Michael's, and so that's why she
the M&S clothing brand.
Yeah, but then it shut down.
Yeah,
and
they've brought it back.
Oh, have they? Have they?
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's nice.
In fantastic news for aunties everywhere.
For aunties everywhere. Was it even the clothing? It was a food line as well. St. Michael's.
I think it was just a brand name that they had.
Yeah, it was like kind of it was a sort of diffusion line.
Is it? This is sorry.
This is like deep
British
supermarket chat.
British, yeah, there's like a fancy supermarket store in the UK called Marks and Spencer, and they.
Oh, I've heard of that.
Oh, okay, yeah, and it's kind of like a combo, food and store where they,
It's where you get your bits.
Yeah,
motherfuckers love getting sandwiches at stores.
They do
store sandwiches.
They really do. And so Marks and Spencer's like, you might go there for like some nice food at Christmas, but also your mum might buy some of her clothes there. That's like a classic. And they used to have this brand, St. Michael.
My mum doesn't buy her clothes there.
But it's a classic mum place.
It is a mum place. Although they tried to do a bit of a kind of creative rebrand.
Yeah.
To be fair, some of their clothes aren't bad.
But then recently I saw they were selling jumpers that said St. Michael on them, as though like they were trying to like supreme the St. Michael brand on the front of the. Hilarious. Like I was like, I don't. Who's buying this? I'm fascinated.
Well, Princess Michael of Kent is now stuck representing them forever.
Yeah.
Every person she meets goes, what? Isn't that a boy's name? And then she says a slur in response.
Yeah.
That's why she's never invited anywhere.
What I do want though is one of the Costco Kirkland signature hoodies that say Kirkland signature on the front. That's what I'm trying to find.
I don't know what that is.
Oh, there you go. You're not a Costco head, you see.
No, I don't know what that is either. What would I need to do to become a Costco head?
Go to Costco. Card, yeah.
I don't want a membership card. No, I don't want to go down that route.
Great pizza.
That's not what I want my life to be like. I don't want a Costco card ever.
All right, okay.
Ever.
Cheap petrol. There's a lot of good things about Costco in my opinion.
Yeah, well, clearly
we've gotten off track here. Look.
Milo Costco Edwards.
I'm sponsored by Costco. I'm a Costco athlete. I am. They're sending me to the World Championships of eating a slice of pizza in your car. Now, the plot of this episode, I feel like I've become entangled in a web here.
Okay, so the Maestro then is talking to Jerry about how he has a house in Tuscany, and Jerry says, "Oh, that's great. That's it. It's supposed to be beautiful." And the Maestro says, "Well, there's nothing available, so don't even try finding your own place in Tuscany." He's gatekeeping Tuscany, and Jerry becomes obsessed with disproving this and also proving that the Maestro is trying to keep him out of Tuscany. The
Maestro is actually doing a reverse psychology thing, and he's taking money from the Tuscan Tourist Board.
To make it seem
contrarian people that they can't go to Tuscany, so that they will then
super clubs deliberately keep a queue of people waiting outside, so it looks exclusive, but there's no one in there.
Yeah,
not that many, not so many that you need people waiting outside.
Yeah,
I know what I meant. We're fine. We're good.
Yeah, he's trying to turn Tuscany into Berghain. They've had to get a piss guy.
Well, they've already got a piss guy in Tuscany.
Have they?
Yeah. He's a historic landmark.
He's like in a fountain.
Yeah,
like a Gothic fountain.
Actually, it's not in Tuscany that there's the pissing boy.
No, that's Belgium.
Yeah.
Only the Belgians would be into that kind of kink.
Yeah, it seems very Belgian behaviour to me. I don't know what that means. I don't know what Belgian behaviour is. Drinking rosewater flavoured beer.
Google Marc Dutroux to find out more about Belgian behaviour.
Oh, isn't that the? Actually, I'm not going to guess who that is in case I'm very wrong. Is that who I think it is?
He's the child murderer.
Yeah, that's who I thought it was. Yeah,
maybe
No,
procurer for the Gladio.
Yes,
psychos.
Yes, this is who I thought it was. But I didn't want to say it in case it made me sound insane.
You know what they have? You know what they got in Belgium? Chocolate and child abuse, and they only use the chocolate to get to the kids.
It is true. Yeah.
Such a cracker.
But you see, back in the day, they also had imperial crimes, but they've not even got that anymore. It's just the chocolate and child abuse now.
They have some World War I sites.
Yeah, a couple of big cycling races.
Yeah. The EU, they got that.
They have, yeah. They
throbbing nerve centre of the EU.
Yeah. Good. So yeah, that Jerry ends up seeing a mafia guy to ask
who is Poppy's cousin.
Right, okay. The tangled web of Seinfeld.
Now, what is unclear is why Poppy would ever have anything to do with Jerry ever again. That's not made clear. But Costanza makes a not unreasonable point, which is, well, you're going to Tuscany? And Jerry says, no, I'm not. And Costanza says, well, then what do you care?
Yeah.
Which is true. Years ago, when I was a kid, we went on a family holiday and to Bologna. which is very nice. I recommend Bologna. If you're looking for a little city break, it's a lovely place to go. And
the home of the sauce.
One of my relatives developed this fixation with trying to stop people from going to Ravenna, which you can get to Ravenna from Bologna. Like it takes like an hour on the train. And
Ravenna's mine.
That was sort of
like the tree of knowledge. He's like, look, any of the northern Italian cities are fine, but not Ravenna.
But it got to a point where if he overheard strangers saying that they were thinking of doing a day trip to Ravenna, he would like stick his face between them and say, there's only one train back a day. There's only one. And if you miss that train, then you are stuck. You are stuck in Ravenna. And
you'll be up shit creek, stuck in Ravenna.
And because obviously this was before you had a supercomputer in your pocket and could very easily check whether or not this was true. So they just sort of would go, oh, well, thank you very much for telling me. And the rest of us would say like, but you can get to Ravenna and back really easily. And he's like, no. It's extremely difficult to get there and to get back. People need to be told.
Ravenna's
and I think it was because he was trying to keep Ravenna to himself.
He's trying to keep Ravenna pure.
Yeah.
I don't want everyone else having their way with Ravenna.
Pure for the pissing boy of Ravenna.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is the main attraction. That is fascinating. You do know a lot of peculiar people. I don't think any of my relatives have ever tried to gatekeep an Italian city, but it's fascinating to see that.
It's very nice, Ravenna.
Well, there you go.
In all fairness, I sort of see his point.
If you lots of people don't come back due to the train situation.
Yeah.
They go over to Ravenna. They're like, well, there's no going back.
May as well just stay here.
Yeah, it's a sort of repository of lost travellers.
Yeah.
So yeah, he talks to this mafia guy, and the mafia guy is like, yeah, there are houses to rent in Tuscany.
You can rent this one, yeah.
And then Jerry's like, no, I was just inquiring as to whether one could, in theory, rent a house in Tuscany, not.
How did you feel about the bit where Elaine sings some Verdi in a bratty way? Is it Verdi or is it Vivaldi? I can't remember.
I'm not sure. You're asking the wrong person.
One of the big V's. Matt, do you know?
I think she says Verdi.
Etc.
Yeah.
That's the one.
Yeah, a classic.
It's a banger.
A banger.
Wait for the drop.
Oh, when that comes on in the club, oh boy, everyone in the queue is going mental.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it didn't. I was kind of watching it in a bit of a hurry, so I don't know if it did anything to me or not.
She does a sort of bratty face when she's singing along to it.
Bratty face.
Yeah, she does a bratty face.
Bratty face, classical music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The reason that it shows you that it's not because of anything I've searched for. It's just the algorithm. That's why. Yeah, that's why my front page is all bratty face classical music.
All bratty
face opera. That's why.
Yeah. So yeah, she's shagging the maestro. Meanwhile, Kramer he takes a ridiculously low settlement from the coffee company because he interrupts them in the middle of offering him free coffee and $50,000 to just take free coffee.
Yeah.
And you feel like free coffee is the last thing you'd want. Having been injured by a coffee, would he not have a sort of Pavlovian response?
Oh, well, it's the dark mistress, isn't it? He can't quit it. He tries.
You think, yeah. Maybe it's like that, it's got like Stockholm syndrome for coffee.
Mm-hmm.
And so then he becomes sort of addicted to coffee because he keeps getting free coffees, so he's like hopped up on caffeine all the time.
Yeah. Well, this whole episode was paid for by the tea lobby.
Showing the dangers of coffee.
Well, it's stuffed full of anti-coffee propaganda.
That's interesting, yeah. I am
interesting.
I personally, I can't drink more than 2 coffees a day. Even 2 can be pushing it. A second coffee is risky. You never know which direction it's going to go in. You don't want to end up like heart palpitations, sweating. Like that's not a...
Get heart palpitations from drinking coffee.
I mean, I might be exaggerating a bit, but you know, the sort of like the high blood pressure kind of like...
Did you go to the doctor?
Feeling a bit too real from this one.
A bit too real.
Yeah.
Colours are very bright.
Not from having like 1 coffee or usually 2, but if I have like 3 in a day, the third one will be a bit like, okay, we're fucking...
I'm going to chew some glass.
Yeah, we're riding the whirlwind now.
I'm going to go outside and start a fight with a dog.
Yeah, why not? Fuck him.
Yeah, exactly. It knows what it did.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's an interesting window into your current.
Sadly, we can't inveigle Matt into this discussion as a coffee abstainer.
As a coffee abstainer.
Yeah, teetotal. Yeah.
That's not what teetotal means, is it? No, it isn't. It's spelled differently.
No, yeah.
It's spelled differently. Yeah.
Teetotal comes from alcohol abstinence group in the early 20th century, and T stands for total abstinence from alcohol. So that's
so it's total.
But it's
exactly.
it's with an E though, so it's total abstinence. So like, was it a New Zealand person who came up with it?
Oh, because they spell it like TEE, like t-shirt.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's just to elucidate that it's the sound T. I don't think it's an acronym.
Total. That's what it should be.
Total. Thanks very much, Total.
Lydia Total.
Oh, Lydia Total. There we go. Yeah, I don't listen to any orchestral music anymore. Can't be trusted.
Knitting the threads together.
I'm in a 12-bar program.
So was this the was this the Temperance Society, or was this a different crowd?
Yeah, the Temperance Society. Yeah.
The Temperance Society. It is a very funny name for a society to be like, well, the main thing we believe in is not going too far. We can in almost all things, we take the view of we're sort of Aristotelian. We favour the golden mean.
I mean, it makes sense because that's really all you could ask at that point, because people were drinking so much. It's very hard for a modern audience to understand how much the average, certainly American, drank at the turn of the 20th century. I think people will say that Prohibition failed, and obviously it did not sustain itself as a legal framework. But after Prohibition, drinking, like just the raw amount that people drank, did drop considerably.
Because the origins of the kind of the UK version of the temperance movement was much older, and it's from when it was really, really hard to get like safe drinking water. So it was a lot safer to drink very weak beer as like just what you're having to drink.
Yeah.
And that was like, and that kind of
the origin of craft ale there.
Yeah. The medieval session. That's what that's called. But
well, that is interesting, because it's like now I think if you're European and you go to the States, it's surprising actually how like much of a faux pas a lot of drinking it. Like it's much more like a dirty thing in America. Like whereas in like I don't know, like the amount of like I have some American relatives, and like that none of them let their kids even have like a glass of wine at home until they're 21, and I'm just like, this is crazy.
And then you go to France, and they're putting it in the bottles.
Yeah, that's right. You got. I'm actually injecting it into my wife's tit to make sure that the
some
kids.
Kind of a balance.
I don't know why the Frenchman sounds like a geezer.
Yeah, why is this a French geezer?
I'm fucking French, and I. Yeah, love pate.
Have a little bit of vino blanco for the baby.
Blanco is Spanish.
Yeah,
I only like Spanish wine.
Well,
what?
But
I have to like French wine because I'm French.
Geezer would call it vino blanco, as well, you know.
Right. Yeah.
As well, you know.
Van Blanc.
Van Blanc, exactly.
Yeah.
Little bit of Van Blanc.
Played for Arsenal.
Lovely little bit of Van Blanc. Played Brown-Eyed Girl, blinding.
Van Morrison.
Yeah,
Great.
That's right. There we go.
Yeah.
There we go. We're doing really well. We're so close. We're so close to the end.
Close. Yeah, and so
I can't remember what I was going to say. Oh yeah, no. And then obviously that kind of bumped up against the church. I listened to an episode of In Our Time about this, so I speak from knowledge. Basically, if I know anything esoteric, it is because I've listened to Melvin Bragg yelling at some academics about it.
Melvin Bragg.
I love Melvin Bragg.
The inventor of humility.
That's right.
Yeah.
I fucking love Melvin Bragg. This is a Melvin Bragg
if you're listening,
shout
Melvin.
out. If you're listening, Melvin, I know you're a fan.
Yeah, we're gonna rig the Phoebe Roy Fuck-a-Fan contest for Melvin Bragg. God, I feel like he'd collapse into dust if you shagged him.
Okay, first of all, a Fuck-a-Fan contest is not to reward me with a fan of my choosing.
No, that's why you're rigging it.
It's for them.
No, that's what I'm saying. You're rigging the Fuck-a-Fan contest so that Melvin Bragg wins.
Well, my interest in him is not sexual. It's intellectual. Intellectual and emotional. I assure you,
Melvin, that it is entirely intellectual.
It is, yeah.
I'm not after you for your
try
body.
And get him on.
We could, yeah. I'm sure he'd have a lot to say.
Matt, are you familiar with Melvin Bragg?
No. I actually
absolutely.
Googled him here, and it says it's got his CV and everything, and then it says under children, it's got 3 kids: Maria Elisa Bragg, Alice Bragg, Tom Bragg, and unknown daughter Bragg.
Unknown daughter Bragg.
To Mr. and Mrs. Bragg, a daughter.
That's a very mean name to give your child.
Unknown daughter. Why does it go into any detail as to why she's unknown?
I don't think so. I guess
like
it's just there's a kid that has never been publicly named.
Huh.
I'm so curious as to how the Wikipedia editors know that there is this Bragg daughter, but they don't know her name.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah.
Yeah, if you got an unknown daughter, then by definition, you're not aware of her. So how are you putting her on the Wikipedia page?
Yeah, it's a kind of Schrodinger's daughter.
It's quite Rumsfeldian, it's a known unknown.
Yeah, you got known daughters and unknown daughters.
Yeah, that's right. That was what the Iraq War was about. They were trying to find Melvin Bragg's daughter.
That's quite an unsettling way of describing someone. It's like with like every famous family that has lots of famous siblings.
Of the unknown daughter
always has like one non-famous one who they kind of keep in the loft. Yeah. They keep in a loft on a chain and has fur and a beak.
Yeah,
like the missing Hemsworth. The unknown Hemsworth.
Missing Hemsworth.
Yeah, Torgo Hemsworth, yeah.
Yeah. That's right. And Boo Radley Hemsworth.
Skarsgård. There's so many of them.
There's definitely at least. What do you not remember when we looked up the Skarsgårds?
And there was one guy who is famous who's called Skarsgård, but he's not a Skarsgård. He's like he just has the same surname.
No, he's called Sarsgaard. Peter Sarsgaard. He's a different guy.
Sarsgaard is not a Skarsgård.
Oh, was that the case?
He's not a Skarsgård.
Sarsgaard, not Skarsgård.
Sarsgaard, not to be confused with the Skarsgårds, of which there are like 10. Yeah.
Yeah, he's like an off-brand Skarsgård.
So we're having a conversation about whether or not Bill was a baddie, was one of the baddie Skarsgårds.
I don't know. My knowledge of the Skarsgårds is limited.
It's limited.
Again, this was female Arcana. Like all the girls around the table had a lot of opinions about the Skarsgårds.
This is female Arcana, and that's fine.
Like,
I'll accept
Stellan,
that.
There are others.
Yeah, but Skellen's like the original. He's like the kind of he's the petri dish.
He's the most critically acclaimed.
And the rest of them are the spores.
Yeah.
He's not the most critically acclaimed, is he?
I've always been more of a Mads Mikkelsen man when it comes to the Scandinavian actors.
Okay, well we'll just
look, this has been a tangent. Do you have a favourite Scandinavian actor, Matt?
I like Stellan a lot. He's cool. He's always very menacing, which I appreciate. His kid,
I think his most menacing performance is in
the younger Skarsgård's son, who's Pennywise. I find him interesting because he's like really weird looking, and that's why he's in things. And I just wonder how he feels about that. Knowing that he has a job because he looks like an anime person if they were in real life.
Unlike Melvin Bragg, people are not interested in him for his intellect.
It's just for his weird face.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think he's sexy. Bill Skarsgård.
Right. Well, there you go. Bill and Melvin, if you're both listening.
Yeah. Melvin, do you want to chat?
Yeah. And Bill, do you want to? Well, we won't go into that, but entirely
Bill Skarsgård
legal
looks
and
like
board.
a ventriloquist dummy that's been brought to life.
But a sexy one.
Like a sexy one.
I'd put my hand up him. I mean, don't act like that was apropos of nothing.
I'm going to act like that's apropos of nothing.
Phoebe's pulling a face.
I am pulling a face.
Anyway, the denouement of the episode is Jerry and Kramer go on a holiday to Tuscany. Why he takes Kramer with him, I don't know. And
why wouldn't you?
Elaine and the Maestro are already there,
Kramer's
staying in the Maestro's
one of those people
house.
who will know people in every single place that you go to. He'll know about all the little trattorias with Kramer.
He knows about the secret train back from Ravenna.
He knows about the secret train, yeah.
And then Elaine and the Maestro are like not best pleased to see that they're like moving in opposite them.
Yeah. As you wouldn't be. As you wouldn't be if you'd gone on a nice little romantic break to a Tuscan villa and then your fucking friends showed up.
The worst.
Wouldn't be that happy. I wouldn't be happy about that.
No. Yeah. Unless your friends were Melvin Bragg and Bill Skarsgård.
Oh well, that would be great. That would be an extremely peculiar evening.
It really would. It would be a meeting of the minds. Yeah. Well, I think that about tears it.
I think that about tears it.
There's one other thing that happens.
Oh, yeah.
They give the chair for the security guard.
So,
and sure enough, there is a robbery of the clothing store. Very common thing in America, clothing store robberies. And when you know it, he's falling asleep in the chair.
Yeah, you're quite right.
It's a soporific chair.
George makes everything worse for everyone.
Yeah. Although, like, it's an interesting one.
Anti-union episode of the show. It shows how when you give the workers an inch, actually, they stop doing their jobs.
They will fall asleep on the job. It's an interesting one because it is an unusual Costanza storyline in that he is motivated entirely by generosity and empathy. And he never is, or very, very rarely. He really is trying to do something nice.
Never let empathy get the better of you. That's what
Aristotle had to say for himself.
Exactly.
I guess, but I kind of think of it as him just creating another thing in his head to pull him away from the actual reality of marrying Susan.
Yeah, also true.
Like, what kind of people are these? They don't care that he doesn't have a chair. And that's just more of him
that's true.
trying to find another thing as he builds himself up to trying to get out of it.
So he's trying to kind of rack up points in the cons column, and because she's so too good for him, he's having to really, really kind of grasp at straws. She makes him buy a jazzy shirt. It's a bright red shirt, and he thinks it's too flashy.
George is the only member of the Seinfeld cast who's desperately trying to climb back into Plato's cave. He's like, I don't care for the land of forms.
Yeah.
Oh, give me the shadows.
Give me the blue pill.
Exactly.
Says Costanza.
I want to see. Yeah, he's Cypher in the Matrix. Yeah.
Who wouldn't take the blue pill? For God's sake.
People are damnably curious,
I'm not damnably curious. I'm damnably incurious. And I'm proud of it.
All right.
I'm proud of it. I don't want to know. I don't want to know. But,
yeah. It's probably not good to know, but I think most people... Yeah, but you don't know it looks shit until you get out there.
You could give it a pretty good guess.
It's a lot like Butlins in that way, or Centre Pops. They make it look good in the advertising.
If someone says you take this pill and you will find out the truth, does that sound like the truth is fucking great? No, it doesn't. It sounds like the truth is horrible.
The truth is awesome. You find out the truth, and it's like everything's fine. Actually,
it's exactly the same. You're still in the same room.
Yeah, it's not a big climate change is going to solve that. Don't worry about it. Turns out it was all a big coincidence, and it just went away.
Turned out his head just did that.
That's the truth. The truth about the JFK assassination.
It just caved right in.
His head just exploded, and they had to backform a conspiracy to make it less alarming to the public than the sort of head exploding phenomenon. Yeah. A lot less people spontaneously combust than they used to. That's what
ironically enough, it was actually done by a hostile actor, but they'd finally managed to get the goat staring thing working, and they just made his head explode.
There you go. Yeah, one of the goats.
Life's little ironies. Yeah, it was a goat doing revenge on the Kennedys.
That is right. Yeah, for his funding.
It was a member of the large goat crime family.
That is right.
Carrying out a hit on their rivals.
And I think that does
that
now.
does tear it. That definitely does tear it.
We've torn it. We had an abortive tear, but that is now tearing it.
Yeah.
So it remains for us only to thank Matt very much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
It has been a pleasure. Is there anything you'd like to plug to the loyal hogs of this show?
I've been doing it everywhere. Hell on Earth, our 30 Years War Pod is at the Patreon. Please check it out. We actually worked on this. It wasn't just us dicking around. We wrote things down and everything. Read books.
Unlike the 30 Years War, which was a lot of dicking around.
Mostly dicking around, yes.
Yeah. No. I'm going to listen to that because it sounds really interesting.
Yeah. Check that out. And if you're listening to this, we have a Patreon. You can subscribe to it. It's $3 a month for the bonus episodes. It's $5 a month for the Discord of the Movie Corner. $10 a month if you want also the What's the Deal miniseries. It really is that simple. So yeah, check out the 30 Years War Pod. Check that out, and we will see you.
Oh, we're doing a live show.
Oh yeah, we're doing a live show. Yeah, it's going to be very close to the date when this comes out. 28th February in London. Tickets are available. B-movie. Alex Keeley is the guest. Check it out. Bye everyone.
Bye.